really define real estate as a gold mine, because this is what I've seen working for people. This is what I've seen working for my mentors. You know, I normally identify real estate as a bank, and a bank with a very high interest, a very good guarantee. You know, a very high possibility of growing your wealth. You know, as young as you are. You know, I don't think we were ever talked to about saving when we were young. I normally tend to ask myself, all the pocket money I've been given since maybe class 4, those are maybe 10 years ago. If I had this kind of education when I was very young, you know, I will be able to really invest and even have a property as young as 15, you know. And just because when you're in class 4, that's around 12 years old, if I'm not wrong. No, that kind of thinking is not there, because, and I think it's all about exposure. It's because we were not exposed to that kind of education. It's because it's good to expose your children early. It's good to tell them how life is. It's good to tell them it's possible to get an opportunity and throw it away. So many people have gotten opportunities which they didn't see, but saw it 10 years later when it's too late. You know, many people say, if only I knew I could have done this. You know, if only I knew I would have concentrated in school. If only I knew I would have maybe done a serious course, you know, put jokes aside and maybe study seriously, so that I can be able to enjoy life after that. And it's a very short time. You know, campus is only 4 years. High school is only 4 years. You know, and I think some of the things that are overtaken by young people are things that if you look back, you know, you really ask yourself, why was I even bothered by that? You know, even being a girl, why was I even bothered about what people think about me? You know, why was I even bothered to the extent, to the point where I couldn't concentrate on studying, not bearing in mind that these people 5 years from now, none of us will even be able to see each other. You know, so I normally tend to say, expose your children early if you can. Make them think towards growing their wealth as young, because they'll be able to identify opportunities very, very early. You know, and you know, I normally tend to think if a young child in class 3 ambiwe beze yukukaa amekupea shamba akazeleza, that's good, no, how will that help me? You know, to them they can exchange that piece of property with, I don't know, a PlayStation, you know, a piece of property that's worth 5 million, which they don't know of, which they don't know the use of it, with something that will actually, you know, with time PlayStation will upgrade. With time, what you're using now will be of really no importance 5 years from now. So I normally tend to think that kind of wisdom is not exposed to our children, either because we don't see the need of educating them, or we normally tend to think they'll figure it out for themselves, which is very unfair, by the way, because people can't help but think according to what they've been taught. You know, some of the values I uphold is because of what I was taught when I was young. Because those are the things that I was exposed to. You know, if you're exposed to maybe a bad kind of lifestyle, you'll grow up thinking life is bad. You know, if you're exposed to thinking that either maybe someone who lost both parents when they were young, or someone who lost a mom when they were young, or a dad when they were young, and maybe they tend to look at whole families, and maybe the kind of mindset you've been given is that, oh, you know, whole families wanajifanya nini, you know, so you're not able to see the value in the things that you haven't been taught about, you know. So it's also good to look for value and maximize on it. It's good to see the difference in value. I normally say, you know, treat people well, value people, because 10 years from now, you'll never know, you know. Someone can just not give you an opportunity because of how you treated them 10 years ago, because of maybe growing up without a parent, growing up without being able to afford good shoes and many. And you see, that's not to be honest, that's not the kind of mindset a kid has. That's not the kind of mindset a teenager has. A teenager that just thinks, how can I be popular? How can I maybe get good this, good that, you know? How can I please someone who, by the way, is also very busy thinking about how they can also please others, you know? So it's also good to put yourself first so that you can think about how you can create your wealth as young as you are, from class 4. And if you can also have teachers adopt this, where they get a chance to teach children about how to grow their wealth as young as they are. There are very many opportunities. If I look back, there are so many opportunities I passed by, even as young as even in class 8, because I was thinking, you know, how will this help me? You know, I'm too small to handle this, you know. I need to enjoy life, you know. And I think it's really good to educate your children as young as they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm getting there is that you need to expose yourself, even though now you're brought up with a background where, you know, there was not a good environment on matters business, investments or anything. You should be able at least to educate yourself. That's why we go to school. So exposure is a key.
Very key.
All right, let's now talk about, now we get now personal with you. I want to do some of your biggest achievement in the real estate investment, bearing in mind that you're so young. Some of our viewers right now who are watching, they're probably wondering, how did she make it? How far has she gone? Yeah.
So what I can say about me, if I can share something also that made me grow very quickly, even made me have a strong mindset from when I was young, is I lost my mom when I was very young, very, very young. So I was brought up by my dad, and I used to see how he really handled it so well, to a point that when I was young, I was only 4, I almost did not notice that there was something wrong, you know. After some time, it's when it hits you, oh, by the way, this and this happened, you know, this and this will change, you know. So it made me have a very strong mindset. And, you know, I tend to think, if you give people things on a silver platter, they'll tend to think that it's automatic for it to happen. For example, I had one of my mentors say that if children have grown up in places where parents don't argue, parents don't, they have it easy, you know, they don't argue, they relate very well, there's a very high chance that they will be very careless in what they do, because they think it's automatic, not knowing that there's some effort that their parents put in order for that relationship to work. There's some effort that their